What's up? Welcome back to Refuse to Fail, the podcast with great stories from the world of sport told in the words of the people that have the story. I'm joined here by a great guest. I can't wait. Absolute superstar, Scottish hockey. She's even got the kit on. She is blue through and through. She can't wait. Kerry-Anne Hastings, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fabulous, thank you. How are you getting on?
Oh, surviving. I'm buzzing. The Thursday night, get to sit and chat. Doesn't get much better than that.
Love it. We love speaking about hockey, so yeah, I'm here.
Good. I'm glad. Well, we have to start off with the pleasantries because we have to make sure my lovely listeners know a bit more about you. So this is, say, the first thing that comes into your head, this or that. Great example to get you started. Cup of tea or a cup of coffee?
Coffee.
Love that. Love that. It's all an athlete thing. I swear everybody just runs off coffee in this world.
Yeah, for sure. It keeps you awake.
Exactly. Right. Night out or a night in?
Night in.
Love that. Right. This is a tough one. If you had to get rid of hockey tomorrow and it can never exist, would you rather get rid of hockey or dogs?
Hockey.
Everybody except two people have said it. Everybody except two people have said it.
I love dogs.
Right. See, exactly. You play another sport, you can't get another dog.
Yeah, true.
Right. On a night in, when you're chilling and relaxing, are you going to go for a series or a movie?
Movie.
Love that. Love that. Right. Would you rather play hockey in the really bad rain or really warm day, like summer 30-degree heat?
Oh, I would rain. Scottish weather, we get used to it, you know.
It's an advantage at this point. Yeah. Just grow up with it. Right, in the car on the way to the game or just traveling about, are you a playlist or a radio kind of girl?
Well, annoyingly, in my car, I have to listen to either a CD or the radio. But I would quite like to listen to a playlist.
What CDs do we have? Are we rocking like a big stack of Now That's What I Call Music in the car?
That's in there. I can't actually find them, so I'm quite upset. So that's just a nerve. I'm more of like a musical gal, so I've got like
now we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, like Wicked. Just trying to think. Like Now That's What I Call Disney. Oh gosh, honestly, it's that type of vibe.
I'm gonna move a question up now because there was later in the quickfire. But what's your go-to Disney movie?
Sugar.
I love that you're censoring yourself in the podcast as well because I forget. I love
that. What would I go for? There's too many. Because I want to go old school, you know. Mm-hmm. Maybe like Lion King. We'll go with that. It can be solid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It took you for a Moana person. I don't know why. I thought to belt it.
No, I would absolutely. But like, I'm. You know, we have to go for traditional. You know, you can't.
Has to be a videotape. It can't be DVD.
Obviously. Yeah. Then you rewind it to the beginning again. Still got that.
Love that. I think we have the same childhood. Yeah. Right. Socks and sliders. Is it socially acceptable? Yes or no?
No, because sliders make you injured. So absolutely not.
There's a personal grievance there, so we'll have to dive into that. I'm just going to rewrite my list and just go, what have you got against socks and sliders? Not that I'm on commission, but I'm a Crocs man now, recently converted.
Just say Crocs. Where are mine? Mine are literally, they're there, and they're purple and beautiful.
Love that.
Yeah, they're great.
I bought paint splattered ones, thinking I was quite artsy and edgy, and I've realised they just look like a 4-year-old's pair of Crocs, but I'm 26.
It's fine. That's okay. Have you got widgets? That's the question.
Not yet. No, I need to get some.
That's the key.
Do you know what we're talking about? We're talking about branding before we came on. Refuse to Fail widgets I'm gonna find a way to make those.
Great, love that.
I don't know how dangerous it is asking a woman to put photos of her feet on the internet, but I'm gonna get you to. I'm gonna be like, Kerry-Anne, put your Crocs on. I need product photos. That's what.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine?
When you thought you were getting all these endorsement influencer deals, did you ever expect someone to go, "I'm gonna need you to put your Crocs on"?
Yes. Love it. That's, you know what? If that's the way that you want to make money, fine, cool.
Hey, I support it. Like, it's an industry. Take advantage of it. Right, we're getting a night out sorted. You're in the group chat. Are you more likely to FaceTime or text to get it organised? Like, do you let the text just scroll on and on, or you like just get a call going?
Well, it's usually like with a group of people, so I just let the WhatsApp group kind of go. But then I will maybe eventually FaceTime somebody else to be like, right, let's sort this out.
I love that. You whispering in the background.
Yeah, that's probably like, okay, you say this, and then we'll like deal it, solidify it. So we've got quite a big girl group, so we have to. It's quite hard. 10 voices is pretty hard to get everybody together. So yeah,
That's a manic chat there. A
it is.
very active group chat.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Love that. Right, where are we next? Yeah, sweet or salted popcorn. What's your go-to?
Can I go mix, sweet and salted?
Yeah, you're one of these anarchists that
Yes.
plays like a little bit game of roulette when they're at the cinema.
Obsessed. Unbelievable.
If you had to get rid of one tomorrow, Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Hatred anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, I don't know how much you're into this one. This is one from more of the nerds, but Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? If you could live in a universe, which one would you live in?
Definitely Lord of the Rings. I'm more of like a Lord of the Rings gal.
Love that.
I'm not really into Star Wars. My brother's husband is obsessed. So, so I kind of probably need to like do it for him. But no, I'm sorry. Right now, I'm going to say Lord of the Rings.
I love that. That. Everybody said Lord of the Rings. Actually, that one's really interesting. Do you have a quote that you sort of inadvertently live by? Like it just kind of, if somebody goes, "What's your quote?" and it just kind of sits in the back of your brain.
Yeah, and I've got it on my wall.
Love that.
Over
Please
there.
don't say "live, laugh, love," but
no. It's actually "Love Your Life." No, just joking. It's not. It's tomorrow's success is based on today's performance. And it's a quote that means so much to me. Like me and my dad, we basically saw it on holiday one day, and Dad was like, lives by it through and through, and I didn't understand it until like a couple of years ago. It was during lockdown, and I suddenly was like that dropping point. I was like, I finally understand it. And he got it like printed on a board for me and gave it to me for a Christmas present one year, which he doesn't really do presents. So I was like, oh, that's really nice and caring and thoughtful. Dad, thanks. So yeah, I've got it on my wall. Wake up to it every day and it's there. And obviously it's in white writing and then a blue background for Scotland. So
I love that. A little bit of home in Durham.
Yeah.
Right, and last one for the quick fire section. Your go-to fast food outlet when you're just like driving home somewhere, or you just fancy a cheat meal?
McDonald's all the way. The chips are great. The chicken selects are great. If you go anywhere else, you're not going to get. And I've had bad experiences in other ones. So like I went to Burger King and they didn't have any burgers, and I was like, I thought that was in your title.
Yeah.
So yeah, McDonald's always so good, and it's on the way home from Durham to when I'm driving. Obviously after training and stuff like that, because don't have that before training.
That's brave if you have that before training.
Oh gosh, I couldn't cope. It would literally just like sit here. But afterwards,
I love that. That's so. Me and you are living through the same thing because like chicken selects, like KFC is now obsolete to me because the chicken selects are so good at McDonald's.
Yeah, the chicken is just so succulent, and you're just like, yes, I'm winning in life. I feel healthy, even though I'm really, really bloody not. But it feels great.
It's chicken. I grew up on eat your chicken, and you're fine. So, right, a couple of questions. I gave you a little bit more time for, but a favorite piece of memorabilia that you've managed to pick up on your travels throughout the world of sport.
So, actually, it's my actual first cap. So basically, when we originally got awarded our first cap, I came home. So it was in Italy when I got awarded it, and my dad was like, "Oh my gosh, so what did you get?" I was like, "Oh, like I got a card from like my teammates, and I've got it in my book." And he was like, he didn't understand because when he got his first cap, like he actually got like an official cap. And then a couple of years later, it was last year, we had our like final. We had a camp together, and our head coach bought us all our first caps. And like actual says like Scottish hockey on it, and it was just really like a special moment for us all because nobody in the history of Scottish hockey has ever actually got an official cap. So yeah, that's like a really, really special moment for me to have picked that one up because it doesn't really, it's really special.
That's so wholesome. I would love to be anything, just to be in the. I love it when I hear stories like that and how these emotions like really get that. And I'd love to be in that room when they were getting handed out. But that sounds so perfect having that first cap and actually getting it. I hope you've got it somewhere safe. Is it back up at home or is it down with you in Durham?
Yeah, it's at home, and I've actually requested my dad to like engrave it with my actual first date, and well, not engrave, but like the threading of it, and then I'm going to hopefully get it framed because he's got like on a tiny wee staircase. He's got like his different caps, kind of framed, and they just look so cool, and it's just really special. So hopefully I get to add to that collection, and when I get my own house, I can make my own staircase.
That's an expensive staircase.
Yeah. Oh gosh, no, it's tiny. It's little wooden, and then it's just on the wall, so it's fine.
Still, that'd be a very prestigious staircase to walk. Do you now have your sights set on a goal of like a favorite piece of memorabilia piece you'd look to add to your collection?
So I would love to, because like as Scottish hockey, where like it's quite hard to actually push ourselves within tournaments and everything. So just like a medal at a tournament, like bronze, silver, gold, if anything. A couple of years ago, I missed out on selection on the European 8B division, which was held at Glasgow Green, which was understandable because there were better players that kind of stepped in, so that was fine. Just missed out on that, and they won promotion and got gold, and that was like as part of their journey, it was a very special medal for us all, but I didn't obviously get one because I didn't play. So either like a European medal or even like a Commonwealth Games, that would be amazing. It'd be really cool. But yeah, just I'm quite content with my cap, or even like 100th cap or something like that. That'd be, or the quake that they get when they get 50. But that's like in my dreams. So we'll see what happens.
Their goals, and now you're putting them out in the world, so that's manifestation right there.
Yes, so. Exactly. Being positive.
Exactly. Like, you've not got that many to go. You've just got, like, you've done it once. You can do it millions of times.
Hopefully, coming back from injury, I hopefully can. Let's see. Exactly. Just see.
Built different, I believe, is the phrase that I say the kids use. I feel really old when I say that, but I hear people just built different. That's what you got to be.
Like that.
There we go. Quick fires for Kerry-Anne Hastings. Done, dusted, sorted.
Love.
Everything we need to know. And you're not going to get any grief because you gave really sensible answers on Twitter. So nobody's going to be like, oh. They might call you an anarchist for the popcorn, but that'll just be me on my burner account. But.
That's totally fine. I will stand by my sweet and salted popcorn all day, every day. I've got massive packets. If I'm out, I need to go out to the shops to get specifically that. The best snack ever.
I love that. That's brave. I love people that are passionate about little things, so I love that. So we're going to have to go right to the start, Kerry-Anne. Hockey, when did it first come into your life? Was it the day you could walk, or did Dad sort of like keep pushing you towards the rugby ball and he's like, can you stop picking up the stick?
Now, to be fair, it was when I was 8 years old. My school offered hockey in our little game sessions that we got on a Friday afternoon. And went to my first hockey session and absolutely loved it. And that's kind of basically how I started. And then from there, I kind of progressed through playing club and stuff and then worked my way. But when we were younger, we were doing all types of sports. It's a bit of a joke in the family that I've tried a lot of different sports before I actually found my actual sport of hockey. With a couple of tantrums on the way. But yeah, it was great. And I was really fortunate enough where my street is like quite a quiet street. So we always used to play in the street. We were the street kids and just like Tig. And then we made up random names and Red River and all that sort of stuff, Polo, Kirby. And then we fortunately lived around the corner from Harriet's rugby grounds. Shock. Near rugby field. And we went around there and played rounders, and Dad took us and smashed the ball about. But I can't really remember picking up a rugby ball when I was younger. Like I would maybe be on the sideline, but I wouldn't really go towards the rugby ball. He quite liked going to a different sport because then he could watch something else. So that was
I love the thought of your dad having like there's no rugby balls in the house rule. He's like, no, as soon as I walk out that door, I'm sick of it. So I want nothing. He saw you got the hockey stick and he's just in the back. He's like, yes.
Yeah. To be fair, my brother played hockey. So my brother hated rugby when he was younger, but growing up, like absolutely would refuse to go to school because he has to play rugby. And then when he moved in senior school, he then picked up a hockey stick and loved it, was obsessed. And my dad didn't bat an eyelid. He was just like, you know what, if he's enjoying a sport, then that's all I kind of like. And the first time we went to go and watch my brother, he started like screaming like he's offside, ref, like all this sort of stuff, and the ball went forward. It's like no, it can't do that in that game. So yeah, he needs to learn the rules a bit. But
wrong sport, Dad. Love the passion, but wrong sport.
Yeah, but no, it's
that's amazing. So you know the question I'm going to ask you when you mentioned you have a running joke of a lot of sports didn't really go your way. What sports were these?
Tennis.
Really?
I went to tennis because obviously my brother did it, so then I had to follow in his footsteps. And I was actually quite good, but to warm up, we played like, when you hold the tennis racket and the ball and you do the egg and spoon race, like Love and Life, obviously was winning. And then somebody stood in my shoe, and then my shoe fell off, and then I lost the race. And I'm not joking, I didn't go back to tennis again because I lost that race. I barely sure that's how I'm missing. Then previous to that, I completely forgot. I was a ballerina, and I was that kid that was holding onto the teacher's hand and like waving at the side, being like, "Mom," not dancing whatsoever, and I was not coordinated. Gymnastics, did a bit of that, got injured from that, but I also couldn't do the splits nor touch my toes, so it didn't really work well for me. What else did I do? Cross country, cried every single race. But I actually did okay, like in it, but I actually would have like the biggest meltdown before it.
What caused the meltdown?
Yeah, I just would freak out. I was scared. I didn't like the like pushing and shoving at the beginning, so that would freak me out. And I had when I was younger, like I got diagnosed with like asthma. So like every time I finished a race, I was having an asthma attack. But that's like we didn't know whether it was asthma or me just panicking and freaking out. So it was like a mixture of both.
I was gonna say asthma and long distance cross country running don't really lend into each other.
It doesn't. It really doesn't, especially when it's cold. And that's when you normally run cross country, so that wasn't great. And what other sports did I do? Did a bit of dance. I was shite at that. Sorry.
22 minutes in and the censoring has stopped. You went from sugar to shite.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of different sports, and then I did actually. So then I started like honing in on hockey. Oh no, I did ice skating. Forgot about that one. I actually was okay. I was going to be the new person, new John and Sinead Kerr. They're kind of like really good, like brother and sister who did ice skating. And my brother tried it and he was shite so as well. So we did that. But then hockey and ice skating clashed on the same day, but I wanted to do some hockey. So I pushed my hockey and then did athletics as well. So like worked athletics and hockey either side and then had to pick from there. So I did quite a few sports.
You gave it a good try. You didn't just find one. You really like you tested the waters.
Yeah, and each time like I learned something new. Tennis,
Exactly.
I learned you can't chuck your toys at the pram, and if you don't win, it doesn't matter. Ice skating, if you fall down, you have to pick yourself back up, or you're not going to ice skate. Yeah, learn loads of different things. Gymnastics, you're rubbish at that. Dance, you're rubbish. Just leave it be. Move on to a different sport.
In fairness, if there was one sport I wish my parents had sent me to, it'd been gymnastics. Like you see, every time you watch the Olympics or the Commonwealth, or even just the championships, you're like, I don't know how a human can do that.
Yeah, it's incredible. They're amazing, and they're so strong as well. Like you watch them, and you're like, oh, you're making that look so easy, but oh my days,
Yeah.
I can't even hold myself. Like I'm too heavy. I just drop.
You're speaking to the 5'8" former prop, so I respect that. People worry when I go with like you know the trend of like decompressing your back. It's like all the rage at the moment.
Yes, I have to do that for my rehab, and I can't do it.
Get one of the like stretch bands. You put one of your feet in that, and then that takes some of your weight, and then you just let it drop.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to try that tomorrow. Excellent. Thank you for the fun fact. Fun tip.
It's how to make sure like my little arms, the arm version of cankles is what I call them. Like ergonomically designed not to wear a watch. Like I just have forearm and hand. Like I don't have wrist.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard that phrase.
I think I might have to coin it because not many other people have, but they do normally get that reaction. But
no, that's very good. I think
listeners, if you are a member of the RARM community, let me know. We will get some sort of helpline arranged because I got a watch for my 21st birthday and I think I've worn it like 4 times because it just is uncomfortable.
Bless you.
Okay, so how do you get back to a serious podcast after declaring that you have fat wrists? Hockey. I want to talk about hockey as a sport because I went to play it in PE. This is why I love doing this podcast because like when people read this thing, they never think they're going to hear 2 people just giggling about arms for 10 minutes.
No, that's the way that you did it. You're like these.
This little T-Rex motion. People are going to think I'm like so ergonomically flawed. Like if they just listen to the audio, this guy must be the most weird looking man on the planet. So we get to hockey. You've done all your sports. You've tried everything. You've cried at other kids for stepping on your shoes. You've fallen over a few times on the ice.
Mhm.
When did you decide hockey was a safe sport? Because we did it for PE, and everybody was like, "Oh, rugby players are the big hard guys." And we used to look at people that did like hockey or mountain biking as in, "You guys are psychopaths."
Yeah.
Because if you've never felt a hockey ball, or even worse, if you've never heard somebody hit a hockey ball, it is like a brick.
It's pretty brutal to say the least. It's I never actually have like been like, oh, this is safe. Like I've just gone, oh, I really like this. This is fun. So yeah, I think the day that I start fearing like the ball, I think that's when you probably need to step away because then your reactions are off. But no, I love it because like you can trust yourself and like the more that the more you do it, you can kind of react. You kind of know how it works. Do you know if you hit a ball or like the way that you see somebody hit a ball, you know it's going to come towards you. To be honest, I feel safer on like international field, somebody just looking at me than I do on a school pitch. Like I can't tell you the amount of balls that have smashed my feet, or a kid that I've been standing still has like turned around and like smashed me in the shin. It kills because you're not wearing any shin pads or anything because like on gum shield you don't coach with a gum shield and shin pads on. But oh my gosh, the bruises that I come out with from teaching actually in school, and my only concussion I've ever had, touch wood, was when I was coaching. Because the ball just went up into the side of my head and I was fully concussed. It was bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So teaching is the real danger here. It's got nothing to do with the sport itself.
Yes. Don't coach or teach. Just play it because you got safety equipment with it. You've got a stick to protect you.
You say you've got safety equipment. I don't know who thought the rules and like the mechanics of the sport and thought all they need is a small piece of rubber in between their teeth and like small bits of like thermosetting plastic down their sock, and then that's fine. And then sort of went, no, that's a bit anarchistic. And you went, yeah, that's right. We'll put a very thin sort of face mask on for a short corner, which I can only compare that to being put in front of a firing squad. Because when we did it for PE, and they went, okay, boys, this is the short corner, and it was always for some reason it was just the men's, like the boys rugby team and the women's hockey team, and immediately the teachers took that as this is boys v girls. And we obviously were like 16, 17, giving it big licks. We're like, oh yeah, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And we're like, we'll defend the short corner. We're fine. And then we did the first one, and one of the girls at my school, she literally, she took a golf swing at it like that. They were prime Tiger Woods stepped onto our pitch, and she literally just leathered it, and it flew like between me and my best mate, like between us, like head height. And like hit the roof of the net, and because we had like the old school hockey goals that were like 3 bits of wood and a metal bolt bar.
Yes, yeah.
The people. I don't know if you ever went to People's High, but like that's not changed. Yeah. That's still there. Like so, we had that, and literally this thing dinged as in like an old cowboy movie when they used to spit in a bucket. And like you've never seen 14 boys just like stop and stand still and just go, like this can't be allowed.
That's class.
So like who does the safety for this? Like, are you guys campaigning for armor? Because I would be.
No, not at all. Like to be fair, the short corners are getting they're getting a wee bit more dangerous because people are becoming more powerful, especially in the men's game. The power behind their drag flick is ridiculous. So I don't know what's actually going to happen with that. And like, if I'm in the PCD, penalty corner defense, like I chuck on everything as much as possible but the people are like, oh, why would you actually run out to the ball? But actually, if you run out to the ball, the closest person, you're actually the safest person. And that's what they always say, like the closer you are to the ball, the safer you are, because actually the trajectory of the ball isn't going to be that quick. But if you stand further away, it gradually increases pace. It's going to then smash you and hurt you. So yeah, that's why you basically see people like run at people who are just about to take this like ruthless shot, because they know that they're actually safer. And if you then block like their follow through swing, you can then stop the power of the ball. So like you kind of try and get your stick in to then then stop the power. Yeah, it's really interesting. So, yeah.
All right, so I've just realized people might not know what a penalty corner is. So can you give me the very briefest, like how it would look on a pitch? Like
okay. So basically, if a foul happens in the circle, so if a defender kicks the ball, Then basically what happens is 4 defenders have to, so time stops, 4 defenders have to go in the goal with their goalkeeper. So there's that, like, they're here. And then the attackers stand around the outside of the circle. And basically, it's kind of like football where you can kick the ball in, and then there's like set plays that people kind of create. So the ball gets like injected by the injector trap, and then you basically can go towards goal. But you're not allowed to hit it above backboard height because it's dangerous on the first shot, unless you're like lifting the ball controlledly, like safely. So yeah, and it's basically like 7 people versus like 5. No, quick math: 8 people versus 5 people. So technically you should score, but actually it's quite hard to score because it's like such a small area to try and like do loads of like 2v1 and stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, that was probably a wee bit longer than hoped.
That makes perfect sense.
Thanks.
Five people get told stand here and basically kamikaze run towards a ball.
Yeah.
8 people stand around the edge of a very small circle, and you have to try guess which one's going to hit it at you, and then you have to get there.
Yeah, that's it. Look at that. Brilliant.
Get me on the coaching scheme. That's it.
Okay.
Because my genuine mantra for that would be scream really loudly as you run forward, like a pure intimidation tactic. Yeah. Like it would look like some sort of like Native American film, like just yell.
Wow.
So you've now done hockey. You found the sport for you. You've realised that this is suicidal in the politest way possible while you're trying to play for 80 minutes. You start then getting really good at this sport, because I know whenever people like to say that they are really good at stuff, but if you're representing your country, you're very, very good at something. So you then start getting picked up to these like under 18 squads and things like that. How do these come about? Like, so you're playing at school at this moment, or have you got a club alongside this as well?
Yeah, so started off at school, and then from there I then wanted to, so I was young, I did like the junior program. There's quite a lot of actually Scotland's really good for its junior setups, loads of different clubs. So I went to Callow Hockey Club and trained on this every single Sunday, and then every like 4 weeks or so they played little tournaments against all the other junior clubs, and it was like the cutest thing. I loved it. And then from there I then started trying to, they then put me forward to trial for something called East District. So it's like districts. So like there's East, Northwest, Southwest, Highlands. And then you trial basically. So Edinburgh's kind of like the East, Glasgow-ish is the West. You trial to try and get into that squad. And then they do, well, this is back in the day, it's changed now. But they do like a tournament against all these different districts. And then from there, the Scotland coaches come and watch you. And then they then pick the best players that they see, or they want to see trial. And that started in, I would say, about October, November time, we had the districts. So then in December, January, that's when you had your trialing phase. And then April, like March, April, May, June was when we did the international season. So yeah, that's kind of like how like it all started. So yeah, did school, then went to club, and then club kind of put me forward for these districts. And then when I started getting a wee bit better at school and seeing at school, they then started putting me forward, and I just worked my way through 2 years at each age group. Started off under 14 mixed East District was my first one. And that was like 7-a-side, and it was the cutest thing. And I've still got like an old photo, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tiny. And then did that 2 years in a row, then did on 15s, 16s twice, 18s, and then each year I kind of got selected for like the Scotland side of things. So yeah, started off with under 16 development Scotland, and funnily enough, my first ever like Scotland development game was actually at Durham against like a USA team, which is so weird now that I'm actually here and playing on that same hockey pitch. Well, newly laid, but it's like same facilities,
same place, same area.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's how you kind of like work your way, but it's completely changed now. They've got different, and then like I worked from like 18s, then onto 21s, then 21s kind of stepped through to the seniors. But nowadays it's completely different. They've got like Emerge, and I should definitely know this, but they've got different names for them. So it's like performance and development, we used to call them, but now they're calling them like emerging and inspiring and emerging or something. And then it's basically
okay. It's like growth levels, like development.
Yeah, and then like they kind of work themselves through that. So yeah, there are definitely different links and stuff. But other people, so some people didn't get the opportunity when they were younger. And then we used to have a tournament called the Super Series tournament where they brought in like the best of the best in Scotland, club players to play against each other. So we had like Edinburgh Lightning, Dundee Devils, and we played a massive tournament. And then from there, the Scottish coaches would come and watch. And a couple of my friends had been selected from then to step into the senior squad, even though they didn't they didn't get pulled in through. So yeah, there's loads of different ways and
cool.
routes. It's amazing. It's cool.
I love that. I love those big sort of franchise ones where they just bring people together and play them, because I know that's quite common in other sports. I didn't know they did that in hockey, so I love that. So when you say they do those tournaments, are they just like a one day thing and it's like shorter games, or is it they do like a mini season type thing where it's like 3 or 4 games in a couple of weeks?
Wish could do a mini season, but so when they did do it, they haven't done it for the past because of COVID and stuff. They just didn't do it. So pre-COVID, they did it twice, and it was literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They just did like a round robin. So I think it was 3. So, and they did like full games, so like a full proper game, like music and all that sort of stuff. And it was held at Glasgow Green National Hockey Centre. And then after COVID, like they've not done it since. I think they might bring it back. I don't know as of yet. But it's a good way to like actually have a
Sounds like a good weekend out, yeah. Make it like a sevens tournament. I'd make it like a sevens tournament. That sounds good.
No, it's definitely not nights out. It's definitely performance focused and wanting to. Yeah,
I didn't mean for the people playing. I meant just like a weekend out.
Yeah. 1,000% for the people. Well, when you see people watching, not a lot of people come and watch hockey, so that's the next part. But we'll hope we get there.
But that's how we get this. It grows it takes just a few people.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah, see, 2 people go. Everybody brings a friend. Then you got 4. Then you got.
That's really good math. I can't do that.
How the first sevens tournament started. It just took 6 people. I'm going to go watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have it on good authority. That is how the first ever sevens tournament went down. Hey, so sorry to interrupt the podcast. This is something I wanted to tell you about, and it's something I wanted to explain before I just go around throwing it everywhere, because this is something that was quite difficult for me to decide to do. It took a lot of deliberation and a lot of discussion with friends and family. I have now created an option where you can tip the podcast, or you can reward the podcast if you feel the podcast deserves it. There is an option down below where I went on the internet, I found this website that wants to reward content. Just 2 people.
Bro.
Actually, I think it was something about making money from Melrose, but we won't discuss that. They've got enough money. I go to their clubhouse to commentate. I've seen their cash. So when you got called to that development squad, I love hearing about the people. In fact, because when we see athletes and we see people from the world of sport, we get very desensitized to their emotions because we see the performance side of what they do. When you get these under 16s development squad, when you get the under 18s age representative call-ups, how does this affect you? Because obviously like, people forget when somebody sees U18s, they think, oh, young adult. They don't think technically still at school, could be as young as 5th year in high school. So how does Kerry-Anne, the person who's still laughing, joking, thinking, I've got double maths on Wednesday and now I've got to make sure I'm getting past it in because I've got Holland at the weekend or something like that. Sorry, Netherlands.
Holland, Netherlands, no, the same. To be honest, like because I was brought up like playing sport basically every single night, every waking minute, it wasn't too much of a difference for me. And it wasn't that I was forced into it. My mum and dad were amazing for supporting me. If I didn't want to go to training, they would sit me down and go like, okay, why do you not want to go to training? And not be like, no, you're going, like, you have to do this. Now, don't get me wrong, some days they were like, Kerry-Anne, you're going to training because number 1, we paid for this, and number 2, you're just being lazy. But like if I actually had hurt myself or I had too much homework, they'd be like, okay, that's fine, we'll miss this tonight, but then let's try and get to the next training session because I love my sport. So going and playing like England or Ireland or Wales or the Netherlands and getting smashed 15-0 one weekend, it was like kind of having like 2 different lives in a way, because like school Kerry-Anne, like I was good at sport in school, but yeah, you just have to sit down and crack on. Like you're not anything special. Like you need to do well in your classroom activities. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to be getting your homework on time. They're not going to give you that excuse of, oh well, she was, I don't know. Well, yeah, fair enough. If you're actually playing like a hockey tournament, they would kind of be a bit more lenient. But if I just had training, they'd be like, you have to get on with it. Like it's your choice to go and train. Like you need to get an education first. So yeah, it's kind of like two lives in a way. Like I would leave school and then kind of go training, and then we'd get to go to a tournament and get read out in assembly. Like, oh, Kerry-Anne was playing here with like read out, and just it was just a bit
How did those assemblies feel? Were they like was it like a
awkward.
cringe, or was it just like this is?
Yeah, cringe. Because like to be fit, well, like at the time, like cringy because I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so embarrassing. Like I don't want to talk about myself. I don't like like I wouldn't toot my own horn. I wouldn't really tell people like what was kind of happening unless they asked me, like a sensei
Mhm.
or my teachers. But yeah, I didn't like getting read out in assembly. It was really awkward. But now working in a school, um, I'm like the teacher that's complete opposite. Like I big it up as much as possible because at the end of the day, like in a way, I reckon like I wish it was celebrated a wee bit more because some of these things are cool. Like I look back and I go, Kerry-Anne, at that age that you're playing for Scotland under 16s against like a Netherlands team, that's amazing. Like not a lot of kids get that opportunity. Why didn't you celebrate it more? And that's one thing that I now struggle with is celebrating the small wins rather than actually the bit like I wait for the big wins for an actual fact to be able to succeed in your sport or life. You have to be able to celebrate the small wins and be really happy and proud of like them. Because if you try and strive for the bigger wins, you're going to be disappointed like quite often. Do you know what I mean? So so I'm like that teacher's like, you're amazing, I'm so proud of you, like you don't realize how good you are. Like I try and give them as much positive energy as possible, especially women in sport as well, because we put ourselves down like a fair bit, or we don't get as much like oomph and coverage, like I think they deserve, women in sport
Mhm.
deserve it as well.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir there. I've got myself in more trouble for bigging up women's sport more than I should in permanent jobs, but
And
I'm not allowed to talk about that. But there we go.
that's all right.
The people that I helped know who they are, and they've helped me in return. So big love to them. But yeah,
Amazing.
you can do a bit of deducing if you go on to the podcast history of who it is and who they've helped, because I don't know many international people, so if I know them, it's normally through an event.
That's fine.
I mean, you spoke nicely on the family there. Like you said, mum and dad were really, really good at being, if you are hurt, if you are just run down, it's like, okay, right, we missed this training, but then we work on how we get back to it. But did having the family, obviously the family pedigree, like I said before, I don't want to make this just about the family, but obviously you have that skill set around you of that mindset and that time management effectively, because that's kind of what it comes down to, especially when you're like a kid athlete and a student athlete.
Yeah.
Did that have that around? Did that help you? And is this something you've now realized, like you said, looking back on, you're like, oh, this has been really handy, just having these tips and tricks?
Oh my gosh, 1,000%. Like I can't thank like my mum and dad enough. And yes, like it's like, oh my gosh, well, oh, you're the Hastings and pedigree and stuff like that. And to be honest, I don't mind because like I am proud to be part of that family because they are incredible. And it's not only my dad that was amazing at sport. Like my mum was like Scottish triathlon champion and biathlon champion, and nearly went to the Commonwealth Games for her swimming. And so actually I want to celebrate that as well and be like, I am proud because it's not like because they worked hard. I think that's the key thing, that I don't mind actually being part of a family that has worked hard to get somewhere. They haven't just like been like, I don't know, they haven't called upon their friends, like they've actually had to like put in the graft to be able to get there. But they drove me everywhere. They picked me up. My mum was incredible, making me pack teas. I love to pack tea. That was like the greatest. She was amazing at it. Brought me
The original
clothes.
meal prepping,
Yeah, exactly. Like small little sandwiches, like wrapped in tin foil, or like, and then she would bring me clothes, like if it was raining, or it's just like these tiny, tiny wee things that go such a long way, and like I'm so grateful for. And now I do pride myself on like my organization, my nutrition. Like that's kind of like, well, I've got better with my nutrition, but
when we're not going to McDonald's after training, but
absolutely, I don't do that often.
exactly.
I used to do that at uni, but not anymore. I can't. And yeah, they've definitely helped me with my small hacks, but also like the key thing that they definitely taught me was appreciating the coaches, and that it's not only me as a player going, the coach is going there and they're giving up their night to coach you. And my mom and dad would always say, make sure you go and say thank you to the coaches, no matter what. That was literally the standard please and thank yous. Manners cost nothing. And yeah, I would always make sure that I would go up. If it was like absolutely chucking it down, if it was sunny and gorgeous, if they were having a rubbish day, I would make sure that I would always go, thank you very much, like for coaching. I really do appreciate it. Or like help them, do you know, help bringing in equipment in, doing those small things. Like they taught me that when I was in the car, or like just before I was like getting in the car, like those tiny little things. Yeah, have I can't thank them enough for that, to be honest. So yeah, they've been
I
amazing.
love that.
Hmm.
I really appreciate that. I think it's great that somebody is just. It takes a lot to be that self-aware to be like, oh, I forget that these people are helping me as much as I'm trying to help myself.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I would not be where I am without anybody around me. I don't take credit for my. I just think that I get there. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I just think everybody else does it. And then they're like, no, you're the one that's doing the hard work. I'm like, no, actually, like, I'm just doing what I'm told. Like, and I'm saying thank you, please and thank you. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you have to do.
I love that. I really, really do love that. I think if there's one thing people take away from this episode, I love that. Say thank you to your coaches, especially thank you to your mum and dad if they're driving you up and down, because depending on where you're listening, if you're from rural Scotland, you'll all know there's no buses. You have to rely on the taxi service of mum and dad.
Yeah. Mhm. So forever grateful. They're
Now
amazing.
you touched on it nicely there. I had it. I think people are going to think that I hand out my notes to my guests before, because everybody does a great job of just going, oh, and then I mentioned this. And I'm looking at my next bullet point, thinking, oh, she said that. That's great. You mentioned your family, and obviously I could have done a whole series just on your family,
Oh gosh.
literally your bloodline, because mum almost went to the Commonwealth Games. Your mum's an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
You're an incredible athlete. Brother plays hockey, incredible athlete. I feel like I say incredible athlete for everybody now, so I'm going to do something dirty. Your dad, he was all right.
Yeah, he's average.
Sorry, Scott. Love you. There's many coat hooks, Scott. Come on, we just need jerseys. So
Not this one. This is my favorite.
no, that's yours. I'm taking that one. That one's being cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does that, like, I imagine Christmas is kind of fun because, like, the sports background, obviously we've got it here, we have like a good bit of a laugh. You're not afraid to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Do you ever just have like a bit of a laugh? And like, I imagine family dinner is quite fun when everybody's around. How's that family in the house? Like, is it like I imagine like Monopoly's like an angsty affair.
Yeah, no, like immediate family, like me, mum, dad, brother. We used to love playing like board games, but oh my days, it would cause the biggest arguments ever. We were so competitive.
What was the board game that used to break hearts? Because we have Scrabble in our house. Like that was a Christmas one, and that went down really badly this
So
Christmas.
we're all quite like, it's not like we're thick, but we're not like the most like not really wordy. Yeah, we're not going to go down that route. We didn't do that. So Monopoly was Disney Monopoly, obviously played that one a lot, and I won all the time. I didn't cheat as well. Like genuinely, hands up, I'm not a cheater. I hate it. That's one thing I do not like doing. So yeah, Monopoly. We also used to play. It's called Great Game of Britain, and it's basically like a massive map. And we actually played it at Christmas time, and Dad tweeted about it. It was actually quite funny. A massive map of Great Britain, and it's like railway tracks, and you have to try and get to different places. So that caused a bit of ag. And then something called Phase 10. It's like I think it's a German game, but like it's a German card game, and it's quite similar to Rummy, or I think it's quite similar to Uno. So yeah, we used to play that quite a lot, and yeah, it would get quite heated, to say the least. But yeah, now we also have like crack as well. Like we just like sitting and chatting, to be honest. We always used to, because we were always out when we were younger, training and stuff. We would usually have tea in the car, or so when like we did come together, we liked sitting down, putting everything off, and trying to actually have a conversation and like check in and how everyone's kind of getting on and stuff. And Dad would always like be like, so like, and do all these like, what's your favorite holiday, or like, where would you want to go in the, like just small little like thing, what's your favorite season, and then we would go on like deep chat tangents and stuff. So he loves like conversation and everything. He's really good at that.
I love
Chatting.
that.
But like Christmas, oh my days, carnage. Absolutely. It's just hilarious. We just take the mick out each other. Like all the immediate facts, like Gavin, Adam, Holly, Diane, like Emily Gregor. We've got like a huge little family, and we just take the mick the whole time. But we also catch up because we've not like seen each other probably that often. But it's obviously sport gets talked about, and we're just like, oh, like golf. Golf is a big subject in the Hastings family, and I hate it. I can't stand it. It's
Not a
boring.
golfer.
No.
Do you know what? I reckon you'd ironically be quite good at it as well.
I think I could be. I think I could have a good drive on me. However, my putting skills aren't very good because like I don't know my own strengths. I just like hit it really quickly. But yeah, golf is not the one. But we quite like, sitting and checking in, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, do you chat about like your tactics about like how
The
you?"
glory days.
Yeah, like I love asking my dad and my uncle like what they've done and stuff, and what was their favorite moment, because they'll share like the truth, if that makes like not like truth, do you know what I mean? But like they'll come up with like the tiny little like snippets where if you're on like I don't know, they're on a show, they probably share different things and stuff. So it's quite nice for that. But yeah, we just like being the Hastings fam, just normal people, which is lovely.
That's a reality TV show I actually want to see.
Yeah.
The Hastings family. Would you do that? Could you do a Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Keeping Up with the Hastings?
Oh my gosh. I don't watch Keeping Up with Kardashians, but I think Up the Hastings would be very entertaining. That would be next level for sure.
I just like to caveat, I've never watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians either, but I reckon I get the gist of it. But no, not for me. Selling Sunset, that was my vibe, but
oh my days, unbelievable.
But I'm secretly quite a big realtor fan, so I was actually expecting to look at houses. And after about episode 4, I was like, I'm raging. Like, you're sat in this beautiful house, and we're talking about who got drunk at the Christmas party. I want like, show me around the house. At least walk around while you talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
There you go. A snippet. Selling Sunset is what you need to watch if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I will petition, and Netflix, you're doing the Six Nations documentary, so if you do Keeping Up with the Hastings, presenter right here.
We will let you know.
Now we join Kerry-Anne. She's battering her brother because he cheated him off. He took 300. He took 300 quid when he went past go, and that was the last anybody saw them.
He didn't buy Peter Pan. I was raging. That's actually the properties, like Peter Pan.
Just characters. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's class. It's so good.
What's the Mayfair one and the Disney one? I've never played the Disney one.
So I don't actually know the normal Monopoly. So is it like
Mayfair's the dark blue, the ones just before, right round, before you get to go again. Yeah.
Oh, interestingly, it's Aladdin and Pinocchio, and you wouldn't think that. Oh no, I'm lying. I'm fully lying. They're green. It's 101 Dalmatians, and is it? I think it is Aladdin. That's how long I need to basically play it again. I haven't played it for so long. I'm gonna have to play it next time I'm home this weekend.
Are you home this weekend?
Yes,
just gonna walk in and just throw the cups of tea off the table.
It is happening. Yeah, no, I've got a Scotland train to go up for, so got a game on Saturday down in Durham, and then have to pop up on the train to Scotland training Sunday, and then back down on Sunday night for work. Woo! We love it.
Have you got something for the legs? Because that sounds like cramp waiting to happen.
Yeah, compression leggings for sure. Well, that's probably a mental thing, but I'll just have to try and also if the trains aren't even on strike, so that's the next part. So I've had to be like I've been driving and stuff up and down, so hopefully the trains will be okay. I don't know.
It's fingers crossed then. And then I get to hear about how well your game went on Saturday.
Yes.
Right. I've got so distracted by board games and planning a reality TV show. Where did I get to it? Uni seems like the next logical place to go. We're still going through the life story of Kerry-Anne, the person who happens to play hockey. Uni and being an international athlete, because uni, as we discussed, a 4 a.m. McDonald's is a very appetizing prospect.
Yes.
Professional athlete, not very agreeing with a McDonald's Golden Arches trip at 4 a.m. How's the lifestyle there? Because I really struggle to feel how people have to eat, because such a regimented lifestyle is required as an athlete.
Yeah.
And uni is a lot of, don't feel like that lecture today, kind of feel like day drinking. How do these two intertwine, and how did you cope with those two lifestyles?
Yeah, so I basically, to be honest, like by the end,
you were Durham uni, weren't you?
So I went to Northumbria Uni
for my
undergrad, which is in Newcastle, which obviously is quite a big party city, to say the least. And I actually, by the end of school, I kind of got a wee bit, not fed up with hockey, but I got a wee bit like done with it. So when I was applying for university, I still wanted to go to like a uni that was all right at hockey, but like not too much.
Okay.
So because like back when I was 16, I basically took a break from hockey because I hated it so much.
Oh,
And
tell me about that. What caused the hatred? Or not
um,
hatred, but just dislike.
just was doing too much. I was doing hockey and athletics at the same time. It was all, and then I had a lot of work on, and I just was like, I am fed up of going to an athletics competition or going to a hockey game and missing out on like all the social activities that are going on in
Mhm.
school. So like I come in on a Monday morning and like people are chatting, like they've gone to a house party for the first time, and I'm missing out on all that, and I hated it. So I was like, right, that's me done. Quit. I literally fully all my coaches. I was like, I'm done. See you later. I'm not doing anything. First week, I was loving it. I was like catching up with a couple of friends. Like I was going into town and getting a frappuccino from Starbucks. And I was so excited. Week two, novelty started wearing off, and I was like, oh, do I really? I kind of miss it a wee bit. I'm missing kind of my friends. I forgot I actually did have friends at these other like social, like hockey and athletics. You do still have friends. So I was missing them a wee bit. And then week three, I was like, I've made the wrong decision here. But then actually, it was a really good learning curve because a lot of my coaches were like, we didn't realize how much Karen was doing for hockey and we didn't realize how much she was doing for athletics because both were trying to pull me in different directions. So like then we had to start balancing up like, okay, what way am I gonna go? So from there I kind of started balancing out a wee bit, started saying no to a couple of people to be like, I can't do that training, but I'm gonna do this training and stuff. So that was like an early learning curve. And then when I then picked, so I then went through school and then I started picking hockey a wee bit more. Athletics was still there just for like kind of the social element, and I started not becoming as good at athletics because my training was upping for hockey. So like, and my event was high jump and pole vault, so it was like
Mhm.
jumping. So like, and yes, in hockey you're kind of explosive, but not too explosive. Whereas like I used to be really explosive. Um, so yeah, I then yeah, kind of by the end, I was kind of getting a bit bored of hockey. So I decided to go to a university that wasn't like, it was still all right, but it wasn't going to be too much like intense. Like Loughborough, I basically went to the open day and I personally didn't like it. It was too intense for me. Um, so yeah, my first year, I basically took a step back from hockey. I only played for like my university. I didn't play for a club outside because they didn't play on a Saturday weekend. So I got my weekends back
Mhm.
um, which I hadn't had since I was must have been 12 years old or something. So 12 years old to 18, I hadn't had a weekend, and then suddenly got to go to uni, and I was in catered for halls, and I ate everything that I wanted to, and I just enjoyed myself and I relaxed, and I hadn't done that before. Um, and yes, okay, I can look back and regret and be like, oh, I wish I was a focused athlete and being really regimented with my sport. But in actual fact, if I didn't do that in my first year and take a step back, I actually don't think I would be here where I am today right now. If I hadn't done that, I would have probably dropped out the system. I would have found it too intense and just been like, I'm done with it pretty soon. And that happened to a couple of my friends. A couple of them stayed involved with all the training and stuff. And literally their second year, they dropped out of Scottish hockey because it was too much for them. Um, but others thrived. Do you know what I mean? Like it just depends on that person. So yeah,
Mhm.
going to uni, yeah, I had a bit of fun. Like that happened. But then by my the end of my first year, I went to my first under 21s camp, and or like one of my first like sorry, it was my second year of my under 21s, but I went to like the Scotland training camp
Mhm.
and I arrived and everyone was like looked at me and they were like, oh gosh. I got a bit of a fright because I changed like quite a lot, like put a wee bit of weight, that was gonna happen. And I was playing the games like international games, managed to still be selected for them. But actually probably the break helped because I was able to just kind of be refreshing and kind of enjoy myself and enjoy hockey. But I was unfit and I was like, oh, so I got a bit of a shock to the system, shall we say. And I went, okay, from second year, I'll try and start pushing it a wee bit more. So um did a wee bit more and then each year, like my third year, I was like, right, now that's me kind of a bit more focused. I really want to start kind of going for it. Um and then I start getting my first kind of like major injury in my third year when I kind of started thinking, okay, like this is it. This is where I want to start pushing
Mhm.
myself. And I got hip impingement. So Andy Murray, you know how you did his like hip damage.
Yeah.
I had the exact same injury, hip impingement and a labral tear, and it was excruciating. Playing hockey, and like by the end, they referred me to get an operation. I was like, nah, I'm fine. And then like a couple months later,
I'm 22. I don't get sore hips.
yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
like, no. And then as soon as I said no to the surgery, I started getting pain at night. I started getting pain when I was walking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in a training session and my leg collapsed from underneath me. And I went, no, like
Jesus.
I need this surgery. I need to get it done. So yeah, I had to basically go from that. So in a way, if I hadn't like taken my pressure off, like in my first year, I might have had to have that surgery a wee bit earlier on, because it was like
Mm-hmm.
when they got this, that basically like completely, so like that's like the ball in the socket, and I completely ripped my cartilage between, so it's literally like bone grinding
Oh
on
dear.
bone,
Yeah.
and it was killer. So like, yeah, I look back and I'm glad that I went to uni. And to be fair, uni as well. Sorry, I'm going on a massive tangent.
I love
I
it.
I attended every single lecture and seminar, no matter what. Didn't miss one.
Show off.
Like, so yeah, I was buzzing. I was like, yeah. Like, I think I missed, actually, no, I missed one because I went home for a random reason. But apart from that, I hated missing stuff. I was like, I'm still going to uni. So I still had fun, but I was still able to wake up at 8 o'clock, get in from a 9 a.m. and just be like, woo, I'm here. Whether I was really good there is a different story, but I still attended and I was there, which is the main thing. So
I love it though, because what you did, and I think I remember reading it when I was doing the research for this. You said that as well. You're like, I took the break,
yeah,
but what it did was it showed your actual love for hockey as well. Because like you said, after a couple of weeks, you were already thinking, I whinged about how much this took my time, but then you're like, I'm sat here twiddling my thumbs, and the people I was speaking to, I really miss.
yeah,
And like, because another interesting way to look at it, as well as what I thought of there, is because you had that injury, which is obviously such a horrific injury, and it is a wear and tear injury. It's not just a freak roll of your ankle and you've snapped something clean. You've worn it down. If you were already feeling out a love for hockey and you'd pushed through to try to get it, was a lot of people, like you say, get serious injuries and just go sack. Like I'm not prepared to commit that much for that to happen again.
yeah, hmm yeah. It just
So it sounds like you
doesn't.
made a really good decision, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you very much.
And if there's one thing people need validation from, it's the 26-year-old that's just making a podcast.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you don't see just making a podcast, making a podcast and crushing it.
Oh, stop it. You can come on every week. I like it. You can sit in the green room and then just every time I'm like, oh, this isn't going well, just like pop into it. Did great.
The pom poms, woo! That's what I do in school. Basically, I just cheerlead for my kids.
That's what a teacher should be.
Absolutely.
The best influence you can have is your teachers. Take that one.
Indeed.
Take that one, Kendall Jenner, Kardashians. Best influences are the teachers. Give them a 10% ASOS discount.
Yes.
So I love that how you came through, and then we speak about the injury. Obviously, you said the injury. How did the process of coming back from the injury? Because that's what the big battle of rehab and prehab is, mental side more than physical.
Yeah.
So how was, because obviously you said it was Andy Murray there. So how long is that as an actual time off from hockey when you have that injury?
So I got told it was going to be, how long did they say to me? I think they said 8 months to me or something like that. Or like it just depends on how like I reacted basically.
That's good. That's like a full season, is it not?
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
the full season.
So like going into it, basically I was so fortunate. So at Northumbria Uni, I was a hockey scholar, and part of that I then got support in strength and conditioning, and I'd never done strength and conditioning before. But I've been coached by every single strength and conditioning coach I've ever been coached by has been incredible. They've just been amazing and actually changed my life. So at Northumbria, I was like had one-on-one sessions, and I worked with like different coaches, and they were just incredible. And I told them about my hip and my surgery and stuff. And one of them was like, right, we're going to get really strong. It's just going to happen. Before the surgery, you're going to be the strongest you'll ever be. So then, like, if I got stronger, then the drop off would be like less. But like, if I was here and then I didn't do anything, then I would drop here, and then it'd be harder to then get up. So, we basically did like this most intense, like, trying to get fit program, but trying to get strong. And like, honestly, going into the surgery, I was probably quite a bit like my legs were huge. Didn't like everything was just strong and it was great. And then I'm so glad that I did that. So we called it prehab, so like pre-rehab basically.
Hmm.
Then to be fair, like going into it, like I wasn't too scared. I was like fine. It was the end of the season. Got it done in May. So like, and it was,
And when does the hockey season start again? So that's around September time, isn't it?
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like September to, when is it? Sorry, September to March time. But then international season is like March to, I've just had a mind blank. March to like September. So basically the season's all year round for me. But
Okay.
um so at that phase, I had basically just finished my under 21 stuff, and I was just starting to trial for the senior Scotland senior women's team around
Hmm.
about then. And they kind of knew ish about my surgery. But so that summer I wasn't going to be getting selected for anything because I wasn't under 21 and I also wasn't breaking through the senior squad. So I wasn't too like scared, if that makes sense. And
If
I
there
also,
was a time you had to have surgery, that was one of the better
yeah,
times. Yeah.
definitely. And I also was finishing, so I worked at the university, so I worked as a student sport president there after my degree. And it was at the end of that, and I didn't know what I wanted to do after that. Um, and then was getting the surgery, and then got a call from Durham University to be like, well, do you want to come and do a master's, for a part-time master's? And I was like, well, I'm kind of getting hip surgery, so like, and they were like, well, we love how you're being honest with us, like we'll support you through that. So I then enrolled onto that, and then I knew that I, like, finishing my surgery, I was then going to be then supported again by another university with my like rehab, strength and conditioning. So that I actually felt fine because I had security. I was stepping in something secure. Um, and the rehab process, like, is like ticking a box. The surgery was done. They then knew what the injury was. I could be like, okay, I need to get to here, here, tick, 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 tick. And I was back on the pitch by, so I had my surgery in May. I was back in the pitch October, November was like the first game that I played.
Okay, so that's 6 months. That's incredible for what was originally an 8 month
Yeah,
injury. Yeah.
yeah.
So you shaved 2 months off.
And then I then started like going to like Scotland training and stuff like that. We got a new Scotland coach appointed, and that February.
Mhm.
So like I was just like enjoying myself. I was like, well, I've just had hip surgery, so it's fine. Like kind of just like dawdling about the place, like I'm on the pitch, la la la, happy days. And then I was doing a running set. Like I suddenly had this like click moment of like, okay, I need to start like really pulling my finger out, and I want to try this. Like if I can get past hip surgery, then I can kind of do anything. I was doing a running session, like just finished Scotland training camp or whatever, and then that week I had to do like a couple of running sessions, and got a call from one of my friends, and they were like, have you seen the selection? I was like, no, like don't check my emails, I'm not bothered, not gonna get selected. And she was like, Karen, you're going to Italy. I was like, what? And that was like my first cap, basically, like going
Mhm.
to Italy. And until the day of the game in Italy, I didn't think that I was getting to play. I thought I was going just to have the experience of an international camp in
Oh,
Italy.
you thought you were on like one of those like tour positions where it's like you're just here to experience how it works type thing.
Yeah, I thought I
Mhm.
was like going to be the water girl, and I actually had to ask coach. I was like, "Am I playing today? Like what?"
Do I need to bring my stick?
Yeah, yeah. He's like, "Karen, yes, like you're playing." And that was in February time. So
Wow,
going from like May to February and getting my first cap in February, honestly, was like at that moment in time, biggest thing ever.
that's amazing. I,
Huge, yeah. And like I just couldn't believe. And then from then on, I had like this incredible run of like gaining caps and having the opportunities. Then from then, I got each couple things I managed to get 13 caps by then. So that was really, really cool. And since I haven't gained any more because of COVID and I've got injured a couple more times, and yes, it's been class. So yeah.
just we'll breeze through that bit, but like,
Yeah.
hey, a lot of people would kill for one cap, and you've got 13.
Yeah,
That's the way to look at
that's
it.
exactly. And my dad always said to me, because I think I was like upset one time, not about like my caps or anything, just like how I just feel like I wasn't like succeeding really in my like life basically. And that was during COVID and everyone
Mhm.
freaked out at moments. And he went, Kerry-Anne, like you have got a cap for your country. Nobody can ever take that away from you. And I was like, it was like he said like this golden ticket magic word, and I was like, actually, it's so true. Like, I am so fortunate that I can say like I've represented my country, um, 13 times. Like,
Ex-
that's so cool.
I know it's not really. It's a bit. It's kind of the same as that. It's like you say. It's like the achievement you've got is always going to be that achievement. That never stays. That never disappears. Sorry. And then when you do that, so I remember watching something, and it was actually the CrossFit Games,
Mm.
and one of the people said they were talking about something, and one person held up a sign that was like, "This player sucks" or something. It was like the CrossFit Games, because it's all an individual sport, basically it's basically a triathlon, really, or
Yeah,
like yeah. And somebody put, "I hate that sign because to suck at the CrossFit Games, how good you need to be just to suck is a ludicrous level of talent." And then it's like when people put that, it's like people beat themselves down, because I've had a few people on here and they're like, "Oh, I didn't get selected into the match squad, but I was in, like, I am a professional," and I'm like, do you know how good you need to be just to get where you are? Like
yeah.
the ludicrous, like the insanity and the dedication it takes just to get where these people get to.
Mhm.
And then I'm like compare them to me or the people you walk down in the street, because you get people like, "Oh, I'm too small, I'm not good enough, I'm not fast enough." And I was like, see, if you just picked anybody off the street, you could probably beat them at any sort of physical activity. And it's like people. It's a good mindset to have, but yeah, it's like you say, these achievements always stay achievements,
Mhm.
and the work you've put in will never change.
Yeah, and you definitely do forget that as an athlete, like, on your journey, because you get one thing and you get hungry and you strive for the next thing, and that's why I was saying, like, earlier on how you have to celebrate the small wins and, like, as well as, like, the big wins, and
Mhm.
even when I was gaining my couple of caps, I wished I had celebrated them more, because I look back and I go, I'm right now, I think I'm a lot better hockey player than I was back then. And I got some
Mhm.
caps, and I've not been getting caps now, but because I've been injured and like other things. And I go, why didn't I just like be happy for myself at that moment in time and just be like, Kerry-Anne, like, you're doing good. Like, just enjoy it, enjoy the moment. And but it's easier said than done. Hindsight is a fantastic thing, and I'll
Yeah.
probably be thinking that I'll be looking at myself in 5 years' time, like looking back at this and be like, Karen, you should have celebrated what you've been doing in your career. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely need to remind myself of that.
Does that thing? Do you think that's going to change the way you sort of do it? Because I know a lot of people that said as they got older, because like the traditional is you're listening to your heavy rock music, you're focused, and you're like, I'm ready to go out and I'm willing to rip people limb from limb to win this game to represent my country.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to change how you sort of do it? Like, people get calmer. I know people change their music taste, because I think music is the biggest sort of example and metaphor of it, because people go from heavy rock music to Frank Sinatra when they're in the changing room. And I think you're a different kind of psychopath if you're listening to Frank Sinatra as you go out on the pitch. But
Yeah.
so do you think you now change the way you're going to look at these? Like when you do get your next cap, when you are on that next tour, when you're in the next competition, are you just going to be like not smiling, waving, giddy, but you're just going to be like, I am making sure I acknowledge every face in the crowd and stuff like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. If like I ever get the opportunity again, it'll be emotional, because like
Mhm.
it's been such a long time, and actually I've had a lot harder things like come at me. So to then, yeah, if I broke through, it would just be like, yeah, it would be my dreams. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think, and I would be present, and yeah, I would just be like, Kerry-Anne, yeah, and like celebrate it as well. I would be like, okay, you've done it. You have done good. And even if it's just like an international test at match series, like even
I love how
it's
you
like,
say just. That shows the elite
yeah,
mentality. But
yeah,
that's another one. Like the elite mentality. The you guys. I refer to you guys as the people I manage to get on my show.
mhm,
Is I look at what I consider an achievement, and you're like, no, I'm just getting started. Like that's what I want the bare minimum to be, and I think that's a really good quality to have.
yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, our high standards is quite, I don't know, it's quite bad. But even,
It's a double edged sword, but it's, if
yeah,
when you can, I think when you can look at it from like a third party almost, you can take yourself out of the situation. I think it's
mhm,
a really good mindset to have.
yeah, it is cool. And like even like now that
Mhm.
I'm getting to go to, so a couple years ago, I wouldn't say like, "Well, I'm going to Scotland training," because I would be like not embarrassed by it, but I'd be like, I don't want to like toot my own horn about going there. And like it doesn't matter, like, oh, I'm going to training. But like now, I'm like, if someone's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Scotland training because I've not been able to do that for a while, like, because I've been out for 10 months.
Mhm.
And this is going to be my first camp that I'm actually going to be able to do a full training session. And I'm so excited. And I get to share a pitch with the best athletes in Scotland. So I'm doing that this weekend and I'm so excited. So like I am going to be like, yes, that's an achievement. But yeah, like, and somebody, and that I've only just come to that like conclusion here, but a couple of weeks ago someone was like, Kerry-Anne, you're part of the training squad. Not people don't get that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
That's it. Like how big is the training squad?
we got 28 to 32, I think. I can't remember like off the top
And
of my head.
you're part of the top 32
Yeah,
in the country.
yeah.
And when you think about it down, that's even less accurate because there's different positions and some, like, we might have 8 great strikers, but we're only taking 4 because I don't know a lot about hockey, but I know a formation with 8 strikers and it probably isn't going to win you many games.
No.
Back on the coaching team. Penalty corners and strikers. That's what I've got. But yeah, it's great. I think it's really important that people like me, like you said, you should celebrate the wins, and knowing that you should tell people when people are doing good stuff.
Yeah.
Especially because like we spoke about getting rid of Twitter. Twitter is so quick for going, that person's awful, they're dog water, sack them off.
Yeah.
Who gave this guy a contract? But like very few people are like, oh, he had a really good game today. Good to know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm guilty for it as well. I think I was slating somebody off about the rugby last week, so I'll have to delete that before this is the light of day.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're so like I think being an athlete and like being with the experience like I've kind of currently had in my journey, I used to look at like the Olympics and go, oh, that dive was slightly off. Why couldn't have they just like entered the water better? Sitting on my couch, eating my sweet and salt popcorn, like. But now I look at those athletes and I go, wow, like I know like a slight like inkling of like how much it took.
You can relate to that, yeah. That's it. We went to the gymnastics at the Commonwealth. Remember when it was at the Hydro?
Brilliant.
And I remember I was like tired at them. I was like, only a 9.3. That's terrible. And I was like, I reckon I would have pulled both my hamstrings getting up onto the beam. Like, it's...
But obviously it's terrible now. Yeah.
I'm sad there. I'm like, just not got it. Like, bad day at the office. They're gonna have to.
I love it.
Well, I've really enjoyed this, and we're coming to the end of it. The one thing I do want to talk about, because I joined in with it, and I thought it was the best thing about a very bad situation in COVID. Your mum's rise to fame with her street dance party.
Oh my gosh!
How was that, and how many times did you take in? And does your mum now hand out, like you talk about strength and conditioning coaching? Is your mum was like, well, I'm actually Scotland's fitness coach, like Scotland's the nation. So how was that? How did you deal with the fame of everybody? I'm joining in with your mum's dance party.
Gosh, it was incredible. Don't know how it all started because that's like actually like a fun wee thing.
I would love to hear how it started.
Great. So basically,
see if you say it was like £5 there, I will burst out into tears.
No. So when lockdown hit, I was like, right, this is it. I'm now going to focus on my training. I'm going to really start pushing it. So I kind of like that was kind of like a massive breaking point where I was able to like really increase my fitness. But to begin with, I didn't like it. Like I would really struggle to go around. So fortunately, we live around the corner from Harriet's grounds. So
is that Glen Acre?
Yes,
I was there for the first time the other week.
It's
incredible. Carpet.
Unbelievable. It's beautiful. It's and I was very fortunate. I knew the groundsman and his wife, and they were just amazing. And I thank them every single time I see them. I was able to use the hockey pitch during lockdown, and like their grounds, we were able to like run around. But to help me get there, my mum would literally walk around with me, or like come on a jog with me and get me around. But on the way there, we bumped into one of our neighbours, and she was like, saw us in our kit, and she was like, "Oh, I really want to do some exercise." She was a wee bit older, and Mum was like, "Oh well, why don't we get some?" We were talking about like the music. We should have some music on the street and do a bit of dancing. And the neighbor was like, "I think that's a great idea. Yes, let's do that. I'll see you at 2:00." And I was like, "What? What?"
Sorry.
Yeah. So we just like left. An hour later after my session, come back and we bumped into another neighbour, and she was like, "I hear we're doing a dance party at 2:00 in the street." And I was like, "How on earth has this got around?" And I'm not joking, it got around the whole neighbourhood basically. It was ridiculous. And Mum was like, "Oh gosh." So it kind of was like 5 to 2. And like there was one neighbor just like stood outside in her garden, and we were like, "What's happening? Like this is really weird." So mum like walked out.
It's like The
And
Shining or something.
yeah, it was so and also COVID, like you're obviously trying to stay away from people. And mum was like, I don't have like a CD player, like I don't have like a music like a speaker or anything because we just didn't.
Mhm.
We put our car on and put a CD in the car and blared it full blast, and then
No,
mum
that's what I call Disney's going at the
yeah,
clappers.
and then she stood in the middle of the street and just started doing some dances, and people just started copying her. And since everyone loved it, well, like literally, I think there were like 4 people who attended, and then like week 2, like it was literally every single day. And we realized doing like 7 days a week was a wee bit too much, so we had to do 6 days, and then we had a rest day on the Sunday, and we all brought cake and coffee. So and just like sat in our gardens, like social distance.
I remember seeing that video and I was like, this is. I really thought that summed up Scotland quite well as
Yeah.
well, actually.
It was.
So
It was
I know we're a ridiculously patriotic nation, but like,
mhm.
there's some things that Scottish people, and I can say this because I am English with Scottish. So
Oh,
I moved up here when I was 5. Kerry-Anne, give me a break.
oh, I'm sure.
I know how to Cayley. I don't know how to Morris dance, so I'm Scottish.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. I love it, Cayley. I almost bust my knee Cayley at a wedding, but that's a story for a different day. This is like December. It's like you talk about like a return from injury. Like Samuel was back on the dance floor, ready to cut shapes, and like the missus is there, like head on the table like that because I'm limping off. But yeah, but like so back to how great Scottish people are. Distracting with an anecdote,
Yeah.
but yeah. So your story like of how people are just sat because I remember seeing the video and you're all just like on deck chairs.
Yeah.
And like it's literally a conversation, people just shouting down the street, being like, "Oh, Mary, you were great! Like your 2-steps phenomenal when we do that thing." And I'm like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen." Because to Scottish people, it's just normal. And I was like, "Imagine how weird this must look to other countries."
Yes, legit. It was. Yeah, people did ask like quite a lot. They were like, "Oh, but actually, it was the best thing." Like during that time, I was writing my dissertation and trying to do really hard training sessions, and everyone had those days. It was awful. Like COVID was pretty bad. And then when mum was like, "Right, are you coming out in the street?" I was like, "No," like I was in the foul mood. And then I would hear the music and I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit of yeah." And then we walk out and you would do 15 minutes of dancing or 20 minutes of dancing. And honestly, it was amazing and it helped the old people so much in our street. Their strength got so much better. They could stand on one leg. Like it was amazing. It was good to see in that sense. And then bringing our communities together, like checking in on one another and making sure we're okay. And we still do like a bit of dancing on the street. Like if we've had like a street party, mum does her wee aerobics class, and
I
yeah,
love
she's
that.
just but she's so humble about it. She doesn't like toot her own horn about it, and she's like, "No, it wasn't me." I'm like, "Mum, that was fully you. Like you did that for our street, and everyone will be forever grateful." She's just honestly, that woman is the most amazing woman ever. She's incredible.
Damn right, I agree, Mrs. Hastings. Well done
Yes.
to you. All the so you celebrate the small wins, but that was a massive win because
Mhm,
you kept the streak going, and like you said, that was all you.
mhm.
Well, unfortunately, I'm having a great time, but we do need to wrap this up because I could talk to you for hours because I reckon we just talk about life as like Kaelian in school and
Yes.
how wonderful that was. One thing I do want to talk to you now, because like you said, you have another job outside of hockey, because unfortunately, like we said, women's sport is not getting funded enough. Let's fix that. Let's make sure that this is Kerry-Anne's full-time job. But what does a week look like for you? Like a quick rundown of your weekly, let's call it schedule, manic.
Manic week.
Mhm.
So I currently work in a school, Durham School, and I am currently head of girls' games there. So I kind of like run the girls' games program and try and get, yeah, basically my whole philosophy is to try and empower women in sport. So my like day, like my normal day is seven in the morning until like in school 7 in the morning until sometimes 5:30 at night. Depends on like the different clubs or whatever that I put on. So like on a for example like a Tuesday and a Thursday morning I do strength and conditioning or running sessions for my first 11 hockey team 7 until what time, like quarter to 8. And then at night time then we've either got training or like I've put on a new dance club which goes until 5:30. So yeah, my schedule's pretty manic in the sense of um just trying to think. I'm always in at 7 o'clock, no matter what. So I
Mhm.
get up at 5:55 every morning, get to work for 7, work during the day, and then sometimes I train early in the morning, so I train like 7 till 8, and then I'm starting work like 8:15 onwards, or I do train after school, and then I'm on the hockey pitch like a couple of times. But because of the injury that I've currently had, like my training's completely changed. So last year I had to do like accumulate 15 hours a week,
Mhm.
and that was really hard. Like during my like job, you had to do it before or straight after, and before quite early in the morning, if you hadn't had a good sleep, you're not going to get a good quality session. And sleep is like the biggest recovery that you can get. Um, so I just kind of suddenly had to do it, and then but then after a long days of work of giving your energies to kids, and which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, like I'm loving my job now, but
It
it takes
is a demanding job, yeah.
majorly. Like you have to bring the energy to the coaching.
Mhm.
You have to give everything, and yeah, so trying to do a really, really hard, mentally hard running session after a long day at work is not the best. And then trying to fit in your nutrition and stuff like that when you don't really have time to, well, like luckily I basically eat at the school quite often. But
Mhm.
sometimes if I'm running straight to training, sometimes I just don't have anything. So but I've got a lot better with that. So yeah, um, right now my training schedule, my aim for is just basically to play 3 times a week in hockey and train in the gym twice, and that's just for me right now for my rehab
Mhm.
process. The whole point is to focus and get me back on the pitch, because I had basically really bad nerve damage, so I'm coming back from that, and they don't want to push me. So, but a lot of my teammates, yeah, they've all got full time jobs. They have to train early mornings, really, really late nights. And the latest that I train until 10 o'clock at night sometimes for hockey pitches, just because we can't get the hockey pitch. And then what? You're not in bed until 11 o'clock, and then your head's still buzzing from training. And yeah, so it's pretty busy.
I was gonna say, I imagine the switch off's the most difficult part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Like yeah, it's I don't know. I don't really switch off. And work is so busy. Like school, yes, okay. Everyone says, "Oh, but you get school holidays and stuff," but you need
Can't take a random Friday off though.
nah, like, and I work on a Saturday as well. If I don't have, and then I then play a hockey game, and then a Sunday I'm going up to play. I'm going up to do my Scotland training, and then I'm back down on the Monday, and like then I have to repeat. And like, yeah, I get my holidays, but the holidays you need time to recover. Like
Mhm.
I throughout the term, like depends on how long the term is. So 7 weeks is one of the longest ones. And you just drain, 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 and you just slowly like yeah, you disintegrate basically, and then you have to like rebuild build yourself. And if you got a week to try and get yourself back up, and then you drain your battery again.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's pretty tough. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like people know that I play my sport because I love it, not because of the money. Because I pay
Mhm.
to play for my sport. I pay to play to go up to Scotland. Um I pay to get my kit sometimes. We don't get kit renewed all the time. So yeah. So I do it because I love it, and hopefully I'll get a career from playing my sport and stuff. So yeah.
That's the dream, and all the power to you all. Anything we can do, we have to make it happen.
Ah, thank you.
And that feels like a good way to end the main bit of the podcast as
Mhm.
well. It's great, it's going well, and it could get better, and there's only one direction for it to go.
Yeah.
So now we get to do the fun thing. We've just spoken about your teammates. Now
Yes.
you get the great job of doing the creatively named Under the Team Bus section.
Oh my gosh.
Similar to your quick fire, you hear the question, first name you see from the team,
Okay.
sell them out, and then turn your phone off when this goes live and give it a couple of days.
Lovely. So is this my Scotland team that I have to?
Scotland team, or if you have a member of a team that's just really, really hits the nail on the head perfectly. But
Okay.
yeah, go. I feel people who've had a lot of teams struggle, so I pick one. So pick Scotland, but then
Yeah. Lovely.
if you have a special answer, you can go special shout out to this person.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do
So
that.
this one is quite a nice one to start with. This is Under the Team Bus with Kerry-Anne Hastings.
Mm.
Who is the most determined teammate you've ever had? Just like you could be 6-0 down, and she's like, "We're gonna win, and I'm gonna break everything to win this game."
Bex Conde.
Love that.
Yeah, I've watched footage of her of the goalie had to come off and she has to be the kicking back, and she saved a ball with her hand and logged. Yeah, she was ridiculous. You need to watch video. It was against Czech Republic in a final or something. It was honestly, yeah, Bex Conde.
On the DM, send me it, and then
Yeah,
when this goes out, we'll put it out there as well, and
yeah,
I'll tag the original person, but I'll take most of the
yes,
credit for
please, yeah.
it. Right, biggest practical joker in the changing room.
Laura Swanson.
Really, any particular memories that stand out? Is she the classic shampoo
Actually,
trick where you keep putting shampoo in somebody's hair?
oh no, we're not like that. Like we don't kind of like I don't know. Either Laura Swanson or Louise Campbell, we call her Squidge. Those two kind of like work off each other and just like joke about the place and like not
I
be
love that.
malicious or anything, but laugh at what like do random stupid shit. So sorry, excuse my language, but yeah, that's them. Those two together are hilarious.
I love that. They're the people you need in the changing room. Who
For sure.
is the most naturally skillful hockey player? Like somebody where you just like you can watch them just pick up a hockey stick and you think, wow.
I want to say Jenny Edie.
I love that.
She's insane. She's always been really, really good. Her hands are ridiculous, and she's now finally she's got a call up for GB hockey, and she's crushing it. So yeah, she's representing Scotland really well, and she's just incredible. So yeah, Jenny Edie.
Love that. Who is the most clumsy? Like who keeps dropping their phone or would leave their stick on the plane or something like that?
Bronny. She's new, like I say new, like she's a wee bit younger, and she's just it's just
Bless
Bronny.
her.
Yeah, she's but she's class, but like she's with it as well though. But like it's just like it's just Bronny.
Oh, there's many people like could pass an exam in physics quite comfortably, and then I describe it as you could pass an exam, then you'd walk out the hall and get hit by a bus because you didn't look both ways, something like that.
Yeah, like just she's great. She's fab.
Right. Who is most up for a night out? Like who's the person where it's like, oh, first driving lesson today, better get on it.
Amy Gibson.
Love that.
Yeah, she's a goalkeeper and she's just an absolute legend. She's hilarious.
You have to be a loose cannon to be a goalkeeper in hockey. Mm-hmm. Who's got the best fashion sense? Who always comes in looking straight off the runway?
Georgia Jones.
Love that.
She's just, she's got it together. And she's just always got like nice sport kit on and just it's like, ooh, yeah. Fashion.
Vice versa, who's got the worst fashion sense? Who comes in that looks like they got dressed in the dark while they were running? That means you've got somebody. The way you laugh like that means you've got somebody as well. You think, oh.
I'm gonna go Frances Lonergan. Oh, she's gonna kill me, but like, it's not like she just looks like she's been dressed in the dark. She's just like, because to be fair, we only see each other like in Scottish hockey kit, but like me and her, we've worn like our like under 16 stuff like for a wee while now because we've not got like new kit kind of thing. So yeah, Frances Lonergan, she's class.
I love that. They're all class. I love that. Who's the most gullible? Like, who's the person you can be like, oh, we're doing a fancy dress night out when you're not, and then they still turn up in fancy dress?
Who would that? To be fair, probably me. Like I would probably be that person. Yeah, I would just like, I would say I would be that person.
Any excuse to dress up, and you're like, oh no.
Oh gosh, I would. Oh my gosh, you should see my fancy dress box. It's class.
Love that. I believe it. I spoke that much about Disney. I believe it. Who is the best dancer? Who's the one that just looks so calm on the dance floor? Like, you know.
I have to say Squidge again. She'll just.
Squidge.
Yeah, she's really. Yeah, she can cut some shapes.
Love that. Who's the worst dancer? Who stood next to her that looks like they're not in control of their own body?
Jenny Edie. I know.
I love it when you chuckle because it's so. It means it's so genuine, and you're like. Oh. Because what it means when somebody chuckles is the first thing that flashes ahead is an actual memory of the person doing that thing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What's the dance move? Is it just like uncontrollable?
I don't know. I just remember like a video being taken, not like in a club or anything, but I think it was during COVID, and they were outside on a patio, like just randomly dancing to music, and Jenny was just in the background, like, what's happened? Like, you know, it just wouldn't join in. Like,
bless her. Jenny, this means you get to come on and you get to tell us all the bad things Kerry-Anne does that she didn't bring up in the podcast. Who is the future coach? Who's just like you've just got coach written all over you?
Fee Semple, and she basically is like she is a really, really good coach actually, and she's just retired from the Scottish hockey like senior women's stuff, but she's a brilliant coach. She's fantastic.
Love that. Who's hard as nails? Who's if it goes south on the pitch, like it starts fighting? Who do you want stood behind you in your corner?
Oh.
You can say you if you think you're the hardest in the team, but
no, like not like nobody's aggressive. I would say I don't know. Emily Dark. Let's go Darko.
Love
She'll
that.
have your back always. Yeah.
That's what you need. You just need a friend that's like, I'm
Yeah.
willing to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Who came back with the worst lockdown haircut? Like who'd cut like panic bangs or something like that, and you just thought, oh,
no one.
no, everybody keep it together.
I don't think anybody. But like when they did, so like Fiona Burnett, she cut her hair. It's like she had bangs and she suits them. She looks class. Like she
I
just
love that.
works it. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it was nobody had like a rogue lockdown haircut. I think thought everybody came out looking fantastic.
Oh, smashed it. We just had mullets for days, and they seemed to
Yeah.
stuck about.
I think there's a bit of a difference. Yeah, like men do shave their heads or get mullets. Yeah, she didn't do that. Nobody shaved their heads or nobody got a mullet. So no.
We never know. These are the questions you have to ask. You never know. Who is the biggest natural athlete? So you had the most skillful hockey player you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Who's someone just walk in and you're like, you just are an engine. Like you could go for miles and nobody would be able to stop you.
Mackenzie Bell.
Really?
Ridiculous. Just outrageous, rapid, and we did fitness sessions in lockdown together. And honest, like I had to go on the inside. So when we were like going around the court, I had to go on the inside and honestly be like 10 meters away from her and go around the inside, and she would still catch up with me. She was just insane, and she's still insane. And she's a doctor, and like in London, and she's still crushing all fitness testing. So yeah, she's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Respect for that. Mm-hmm. Who's got the best tunes in the changing room post game?
Oh, this is going to be controversial because. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say Amy Gibson. I am, and a couple of people go like, "What?" So I like Gibbo's choices. They're good.
And the final one for Under the Team Bus. Mm-hmm. Who hogs the mirror the most post game? Who knows they've got the big interview coming up and like spends a bit too much time on the mascara?
Oh. I don't know what to say. Like nobody puts on nobody like cakes himself in makeup or anything.
I don't mean cake himself, but like who's just like a bit too posy, they're a bit
posy.
A bit Lizzie McGuire in the mirror in the morning.
Oh my gosh, that's a really hard one. I hope you can cut this part out because I actually have no idea. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to go through the lines.
You're all just very naturally beautiful people. You just walk out and just we're sorted.
Amazing. Yeah, we actually
You're nicer than the women's team. I've had 5 of the Scotland women's team on, and they've all sold the same girl down the river. Really? It's terrible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no. After the game, to be fair, I couldn't even say because I wasn't at the last tournament, so I don't really know who. Oh, I'm gonna go. Can I have another question? I don't know.
Oh, don't worry. Do you know what? You've answered everyone honestly. It will be the mystery, and then it gives me an excuse to get a few more of your pals on, and then we can go. Well, Kerry-Anne doesn't know, so that is it. Under the Team Bus, you get one off for free. You answered every other one, obviously. You sold every other one, so I love it. Kerry-Anne, I've had so much fun. Final question, then I'll let you get on your way. Just the biggest game of your life. You've got cap number 14 because the next game is always the biggest one. Elite Mamba mentality. You've been given the speaker at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Teams getting ready for a night out. You've got 3 songs to pick. What 3 songs are you picking and why?
Okay. I'm gonna pick
for the audio listeners. Watch the YouTube because the excitement in Kerry-Anne's face when she got to pick 3 songs.
So Jerry Cinnamon.
Yep.
She's a belter, obviously.
Lovely.
Brilliant. Loch Lomond, Run Rig.
Run Rig, yeah.
Run Rig. And then oh my gosh, what was my final? 0.2 seconds. It is really 500 miles. The Proclaimers. All Scottish songs.
Basically 3 national anthems of Scotland at that point.
Absolutely, that's it. And obviously, if it was a proper tournament or whatever, and we just won, we are champions, but that's the standard. So I just went all Scottish songs. Yes.
I love that. That's great. Kerry-Anne, where can people follow you to keep up to date with your amazing story as it unfolds?
So on my wee Instagram, I've got like a wee hockey Instagram account. So it's I think it's this KA Hastings 1066. I think. We can figure that one out. I'm not too sure.
It's all down in the description below. Don't you worry. It's there.
Like that. And then I do have like my Twitter link to that one. So like, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, I don't really post that much, but something, yeah, that's probably where it kind of is at. And also, to be fair, I'm One Sports. Sorry, it's called One Sports Warehouse, and then I'm kind of do a bit of work with them. They sponsor me and help me out and stuff. So and with alongside Griffin Hockey. So yeah, there's like a lot of links there.
Amazing, love that. I'll make sure they all get a shout out because people that help athletes, especially the Scottish, always friends of the show. So absolutely.
Yeah,
right. All that's left to do now, listeners, is I need you to like, subscribe, share, follow, tell your mum, tell your dog, tell anybody you see in the street that you had a great time listening to this podcast, because that's how I get to keep making good content, bringing on incredible people and sharing their story with you. That's another episode of Refuse to Fail in the bag, done and dusted. Thank you guys very much. I will see you next week. Goodbye.